All right, back at our tr3 project. Anyway, got our frame cleaned up, Rust-Oleum'd in. Actually bought this frame off eBay. The other frame that was under the car originally was in pretty bad shape. Long story short, body is about ready to kind of start test fitting some stuff. And yeah, I know the bottom of this is flat. Welding in a bunch of new metal. We're about ready to go ahead and get our brake lines pre-ran on this frame because it's a lot easier to do while it's like this. We're going to put our suspension on. We've got literally all brand new shocks, springs, bearings, a lot of the rubber bushings that mount between the frame, just different spots, all the frame mounts. My partner is putting in all these rubber strips. This thing's going to be pretty factory other than the custom Tesla motor in the back. Don't mind me if you see me with a Sawzall here in the next video cutting this one apart. But there you go. Keep on watching. We'll keep on filming. Alright, I think we're about buttoned up for the day. I left the back brake line really long. It's going to depend. We replaced the brake lines all the way through the whole frame. I'll put some shrink wrap a couple places to kind of protect it. We're going to put some clamps along the frame though. I don't remember what it was. Something went there. It had to bow out. Same deal, shrink wrap anywhere where I think it might vibrate. And doubled up, by the way. And I guess that's probably a brake proportioner valve. I had to use the old fittings, the original ones, the OEM ones, because the new ones were actually too short. They didn't seat. So anyway, we left everything set up. Next portion, I'll put the front together and kind of connect everything I can. Yep, keep watching. All right, next phase. We got our Tesla motor. This would be sitting top side. We're going to situate first things first, figure out how to mount it. And then we'll have to figure out what A-arms and whatnot we're going to use to make this work. And we're probably going to have to cut out a section in the rear to bring this up for the clearance to make the motor fit. I want suspension working and everything else. We're going to situate some of this. I think I'm going to hit this with a quick clean. Other than that, we're a long ways. We're getting it though. We're doing body work on fenders, doors, and everything else. But first things first, putting this Tesla motor in. All right, next section. We're going to go ahead and get the whole front end put back together. All the control arms, spindles, new springs, bushings, bearings, you name it. But once we get this right here, we'll have our height for the center of the wheel, whether it be higher or lower. And then what I want to do, I hope that I'm not going to have to notch the back of this frame like for example, the lowrider Chevy trucks, where you notch the frame up, over, back down. We're going to try to avoid that, and I think that I can, but with the distance that we're shortening this Tesla rear end as far as being narrowed, I can give you an exact measurement when we get just a little farther. But yeah, that's what it be. Let me go ahead and reassemble all this front stuff. Keep on watching. All right, another day, another dollar. Okay, we slowly started putting everything back together. Got our front suspension just about wrapped up. Only bushings and a lot of new hardware. Spacers, washers, you name it. There's a whole bunch of new stuff here. Greased up all the ball joints, any moving parts. Re-greased all bearings, putting all that together. As soon as we get this front end done, we're going to go ahead and jump back to the back of this so I can start setting up for the motor mounts and everything. But what I was after was getting the height of this to the frame to the floor. So this should situate us in every aspect as far as what I need to know on my end for information. So we're going to go ahead and crack on our spindle the rest of the way, and rotor, caliper, all the brake lines and etc. But steering, we're gonna get in a minute. I think we got some slight modifications up here. We're gonna figure out some math for mounting batteries. We're moving right along, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause this, resume work, and we'll go from there. Okay, we are now test fitting the Tesla motor at our center of axle existing points marked. And what I'm going for is lining our drive shafts up with that center point. We're going to custom do the control arms and build everything from off the motor's center point. So our drive shaft right there in the center. And I'll try to line it up with this center point as well. We got to make sure we got our clearances for all these lines and wires and everything else that is attached to this. It's going to be a fully custom rear end on this thing. But also, when this is mounted, I'm going to get a heavier duty scale and weigh the back and weigh the front. We want to kind of level out the weight between the batteries. Are pretty heavy, but that'd be our progress right there. We got everything lifted up, sitting ready to go. And then in the top of this, when we're all done, I'm going to make a huge square, make an access to where this thing can be worked on, modified, replaced, whatever it may be. I want to make sure I'm set up. And we are using 2x2 by 1/4 tube for all the mounting on it. We're going to get the frame nice and cleaned up, nice hot welds. I want this thing solid. Alright, we're getting back to filming here. Okay, we just got everything kind of mocked up, tacked in, a little bit welded. We're going to add a lot of gussets to this actually. And trying to work it out. We want this nice and solid everywhere we go. We're going to bring 2 pieces of big thick 1/4 inch angle. I'm using all 1/4 inch steel on this. We're going to get these 2 mounts centered up. I'm going to start with the front mount so that we can actually the center line here on the gasket. We're going to measure off both sides of the frame to that gasket. We want to make sure that that's square as possible. And when we get this first mount on, that'll actually lock the front end, and then we'll have a little bit of wiggle room just to move this a little bit if we have to. And then another thing we're going to have to watch is the pitch. I want to keep it in about the correct position. And we're going to work out putting another chunk of steel from the top of this frame over to the side over there. And then we'll get the mounts all pre-cut, ready to go. And something like this, I'm going to measure 4 times and cut once. But that's the story today. Getting this baby lined up. We got a long way to go, but we're definitely making a dent. Well, bear with me. A little worn out. It's about 110 degrees here in Vegas today. And I'm roasting. Plus welding makes it even worse. But yeah, this we'll be able to slide in under the car, and it should actually be touching the metal on the bottom here, but we're looking great as far as measurement. Every distance, every measurement, everything to this frame is actually lining up very, very well. So I'm going to get a little farther and I'll keep on recording. Bear with me, as I said, probably 100 times. There you go. Alright, did a little more. This is just setting up everything, by the way. But got the front mount set up. Getting the back, I've got welded between the frame. It comes up to these 2, which are slightly pulled apart right now, I can tell. So I'm gonna get them nice and hot, bend them back in, run our bolt through our motor mount, and then yeah, like I said, just simply setting everything up. And I believe down here we got another 2 bolt mount as well. And then I want to mount something from here straight down to the frame. And then I think we got it whipped as far as mounts. I really doubt that it's going to need any more than this. Alright, we're back on her. Got a little more done. Welded the brackets on. Built just a simple little gusset for strength from side to side. This might not be a permanent thing, and I just overkilled it on weld, but there is 3 bolts accessible to this. 2 of them need spacings, but we're gonna work with that. And then we got our front mount in as well. I'm gonna probably pop the motor back out, clean everything up, give it a quick dip in paint. But overall, our Tesla motor is mounted, not going anywhere. Next thing we're gonna figure out, I know this thing was basically at measurement touching the bottom of the floor in the vehicle on the body. I think we're gonna cut a big square out of this, basically what is in the screen right here, and make it a bolt down accessible setup. That should allow us to work on this or change it or modify anything that might be modified. Easy access to wiring, etc. My favorite word. But there you go. Just wanted to get some more footage on here of how we're doing, where we're at. So far, so good. Yeah, let me get a little more figured out. And next thing's next. We're gonna have to build the suspension setups right here, where our center mark is right there. And hopefully, like I said, this bracket might not be a permanent thing. It might have to be modified. We're going to build a couple towers, maybe find something out of a car that's got a set of strong control arms